Hey everyone, this is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot, and welcome back to our channel here on Ham Radio Insights. I do these videos every few days, bringing in an interesting person from the ham radio community, friends of mine, people I run across, and just general people that have some really good knowledge. So today, I was joined by my good friend, Barry Evans from North Carolina. I'm sure if you're on HF at any capacity, you've heard N4WFU working DX all over the bands. Barry is very active in DXing, and a good colleague of mine, friend of mine I've known for since I got back into ham radio 3 years ago. I think, Barry, I was checking the other day, you were in the first 10 to 20 QSOs I ever had when I got back into ham radio. Welcome to our program, Barry. Thanks to have you today.
Well, good morning, Stuart. It's so good to see you. And I brought you a cup of coffee. Will you sit down and have a cup with me?
Got mine right here, sir. Here we go. And the grill will be going on in a few minutes, probably in an hour or two.
Are you going to do ribs today? I love ribs.
Yeah, come on over.
All right.
So Barry, tell me a little bit about your background in ham radio. I know you've been, you were like me. You took a little bit of a break from HF for a number of years, but how did you get started in ham radio? What tweaked your interest? And what about ham radio today keeps you involved in the hobby?
Okay, Stuart. Well, I was first licensed in 1989. My background, I had some experience already in commercial two-way radio and broadcast, and was kind of missing my old CB days. I think most of us probably started there. I don't want to go back to them, but I did spend a little time there. It was just not what I was looking for. Everybody there wanting to interfere with each other and give incorrect information, cause problems for each other, even meet each other with baseball bats on the parking lots, and that wasn't for me. So I had a couple of friends, Elmers, if you will, that wanted me to get into ham radio, and I started talking to them and finally decided I had a little bit of time that I could start studying and get my license. And to start with, I was interested mainly in 2 meters. I had 2 meter equipment already. I just had to program it and get it going. And I was just after a technician class license. In the United States at the time, we had 5 classes of license. You took a written novice exam and a 5-word-a-minute code test. And then when you wanted to upgrade, you took a general class written. That would give you a technician class license, which is what I was going for to start with. Then you could upgrade then by just taking a 13-word-a-minute code test. That gave you general capability. Then there was an advanced level, which was just a written test, and then an extra level, which gave you everything that the hobby had to offer. After I took the technician test and started talking on 2 meters and started hearing what some of the other guys were doing, I just decided I wanted to move on up. I wanted to go ahead and get them all behind me, because if I ever stopped along the process, I felt like I would not get going again. So I went from a technician class license to an extra class license over about 8 months period. But not long after I upgraded to general, I went to a ham fest and bought some HF equipment, and Elmer started helping me learn to use it properly, and I really got interested in HF. And to get my code speed up, I needed the CW speed, so I spent a lot of time on CW to start with. I got involved in some CW nets, traffic handling, which you don't even hardly hear of anymore, and emergency nets and so forth. And then they started asking me to participate as a net liaison or a net control station and so forth. So I did that with several nets. And of course, I did my normal rag chewing, but that's where my interest was to start with, just trying out and finding out what I like. At the time, the digital modes we had are not like the ones now. This was 37 years ago, Stuart, so things have changed a bit. But I tried AmTOR, PACTOR, Scan TV, WeFax, things like that. I did all right with them, but the only one that really stuck with me was Packet, and I built a high-speed Packet network. I really got enthusiastic about it when I worked the space shuttle back then, and since then I've worked the International Space Station, and I said, well, let's give this a shot. And I had, because of my commercial connections, had the capability of getting some tower spots and so forth, so I built a high-speed backbone for Packet and transported anything and everything in and out of North Carolina at the time, but the use of it was dwindling, and I ended up converting those sites to sites I could use for my repeater, put up a 2 meter repeater, because I wanted to just be able to do what I want to do with it without having to go to a vote of the club and have people argue about it. And so I started that up. And then, well, might as well tell the truth. I fell in love and decided to get married and wanted to concentrate on family and work. And that took me out for about 20 years or so. But after about 20 years, children gone, and I decided I wanted to get back to HF, decided I wanted to get some better signals, so I improved my antenna system and other things I started doing to improve, and I got bit by the DX bug, and that's what keeps me excited now is all the different places I can talk to and all the different cultures I can learn about, helping other people do the same thing, because that's one of my primary focuses now is running nets and things to help other people make these contacts that otherwise they might not be able to make.
And I think the first time I ran across Uberry was, I don't think it was the 14247 net at the time, because David and Joe and a few others were very involved with the net control of that. I think it was on the Big Gun Friendship net was the first time I ran across. I think I heard you on 14247, but I think our first interaction was on the Big Gun Friendship net when we used to do it 3 days a week. Now it's only 1 day a week. And I think, if I understand correctly, you're kind of passed the control back over to Lee, and you're kind of there just helping out when time comes. But I think that was the first time I met you. It was either the 247 net or the Big Gun Friendship net.
Yeah, probably so. Lee did a good job with that. It started out with some other people, and they kind of left Lee as the MC, if you will, or net control station, and he did a good job, and I enjoyed working with him, and I was mainly a helper on that net, but I could hear a little bit better than Lee because he's in an HOA and didn't have a sufficient antenna at the time. He has improved some since then, but he had some family things come up, and for a couple of years there, he just was busy with family, and family is more important. So I kind of took it over and kept it running, knowing that he intended to come back, and now he has come back, and I'm trying to slowly hand it back over to him so that he can run it the way he wants to.
Yeah, and there was another gentleman up in Maine, I think it was also involved with that at the time when I first stumbled upon it.
Yeah, that was probably Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie, that's his
call sign. Yeah, I think he had aspirations of becoming a net control for a much bigger, broader net. I think he ended up working with OMIS last I heard, but I don't go to OMIS, so don't know if he's still doing that or not. But he helped out for a while. I tried to get several people to help to keep the net going, and a lot of people will take advantage of the net, but not many people want to be responsible to run it, and that's okay. We have different personalities. Everybody doesn't want to do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's get on to our topic at hand today, Barry, which is special event stations, particularly in the U.S. Every country is going to be a little different. Ours here in Canada is different than what you go through in the U.S. But for the U.S. Amateur community, looking at getting a special event station going, the background you have on your screen there is for your N4C. I think it's the Halifax Resolves. Before we get into the how-tos, tell me a little about your special event that you do each year. I think it's sometime in April, correct?
That is correct. It's a lot of work, but we have a lot of fun with it. Most people don't know what the Halifax Resolves is. Basically, our goal in running that is bringing attention to something that's not, it's available, but you have to go looking for it. Everybody knows about our Declaration of Independence signed July 4th, 1776, but most people don't know there was documents before that. And North Carolina is credited for the first two documents. The first one was actually the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, and it shows on our flag May 20th of 1775, and that was actually lost in I think a courthouse fire or something, and the only information available on it is what some descendants of the people involved could remember, and it's no official document or anything, and it was not an official action of the state or the colony of North Carolina. It was actually a group of military men led by Thomas Polk that basically declared their independence from England. But the one we're representing is the Halifax Resolves, which shows also on the flag April the 12th of 1776, and it was the first official action of a colony to lead towards independence from England, and it authorized our representatives, our delegates that were being sent to the Continental Congress, which is where the Declaration of Independence was signed, or at least drafted and later signed. These delegates went to express our interest in being independent from England and to encourage the other colonies to do the same, to become a more or less a unified nation. And like I said, that was April 12th, 1776, and we try to do the special event around that time. Usually we do about, we've been doing like 40 hours, 44 hours continuous for the last couple of years, but most people have never heard of the Halifax Resolves, don't know the background of it, so we're really trying to promote that background, and it happens to be in Halifax, North Carolina, which is about 20-25 minutes drive from me. it was an easy place and I know all the people to get in touch with to be able to get it set up. So that's just something I decided to take on. I actually decided to try to do that, or a group of us from our club decided to try to do that back about 1990, and it was very poorly organized, and it was a miserable failure, I might as well tell you. I doubt anybody that's going to watch this video made contact with that station, because we made very few contacts, and we just had all kinds of things we hadn't counted on that caused problems for us. Our location, we caused interference to a bunch of electronic gear there and so forth, and we had to use minimum power, and we had none of us had any experience. So that's a recipe for failure.
Yeah, it happens. That we learn from those. That's the nice thing about failures. If we learn from them, and then they're not really failures; they're just lessons, learning opportunities. And Halifax Resolve. It's funny that you mentioned it. I was a big fan of the show. I'm not sure if you ever watched the show called Outlander, but it was started in Scotland and eventually came over to North America, and we're in North Carolina. And it was around the time that they were talking about North Carolina independence, and it was all obviously drafted around that. I don't know how much of it was real compared to what actually happened in history. A lot of mentions of going to Wilmington and things like that. So I kind of start piecing the pieces together there. The whole process, Barry, of getting a special event off the ground. Obviously, you got to get the volunteers. You have to get the equipment. There's getting the call sign from the FCC, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, in the U.S., special event call signs are all one by one, correct?
That is correct. They have the whole set of all the prefixes available in the United States, and all the letters. So there's a lot of combinations possible. And the reason we chose November 4 Charlie for Halifax is because obviously North Carolina is the November Charlie, and 4 is our call district. So that seemed the most suitable for the event we were presenting.
Yeah, that works. I know here in Canada we can. Our rules are a little different. If it's just a standard for VE9, if it's just a standard special event, I think we have to use either Victor Charlie or Victor Bravo. But this month, I did a special event for the Alexander Graham Bell 150th anniversary of his first telephone call, and since it was a increment of 25, I was lucky enough to use the Charlie Golf 9 prefix, which I only ran for one day, and I'm using it again this weekend for the WPX contest. But every country is different. In what we're talking about here in the U.S. may not work 100% the same in your country. So always check the country rules for the country that you're at. But focusing on the United States, Barry. So you guys came up with the idea. Either you or in a club came up with the idea of doing a special event around the Halifax Resolve. What's the process look like to get started? What from everything from getting the call sign to getting maybe the permission just to do the event from either the local authorities or the club, or describe to me the typical process that you go through.
Okay, well, the Halifax Resolves, the first attempt back about 1990, that was a club-oriented event. The one we're doing now is not necessarily a club event. It was my idea to try to do it again because I knew the most about it since I live right here in the county that the event took place in. Could go to the location, and I recruited some help. I sent out some information to a lot of hams. I got on some nets and told everybody, and I started about 9 months in advance contacting people and telling them what I wanted to do, because I wanted to do something better than what we'd done before, and I needed some help in doing it. So I put the word out that I was planning on doing it. I typed up some introductory information. I'll just use an example that comes right ahead from what you said a moment ago. I grew up here. I know all about the Halifax Resolve because the public school system used to let us get out of class for a day and go to Halifax and find out what it was all about. But if you look in the textbooks, there's no mention of the Halifax Resolve. And I guess what they were interested in presenting is just a Declaration of Independence for the entire country. So I started studying a little more into it, learning about it, telling people about it, getting people interested in helping with it. And unfortunately, our local club fell apart years ago and is not in existence right now. So I needed help and couldn't go to the local club for it. So I started putting it out to other hams in the area, basically who I talked to in North Carolina, and let them know they didn't have to join any club or be part of a specific group. Just, if you're interested in operating, I've got this registration form that you can fill out, and we're going to put it all together. And I decided to, keep everybody updated on what's going on. I decided I needed a planning committee because it was too much work for me to do, the scale that I wanted to do it. Now, let me back up one step from that and say anybody can do a special event station anytime they want to in the United States. I guess it's the same in Canada. I can decide I'm going to do the special event for the ugliest ham in the United States, and I'm going to use my own call sign, and I'm going to sit here at my home station, and I'm going to say this is a special event station for the ugliest ham in the United States, calling CQ. This is November 4 Whiskey Foxtrot uniform. You could do the same thing in Canada, I think. I'm not really up on your regulations, but that's the simplest form of a special event station. But the question is, who cares? So I'm the ugliest in the United States, you're the ugliest in Canada. Whoopee. Who's going to want to talk to that? But the Halifax Resolves is a special event that is historically significant. We can actually operate from the location, and we ended up with I think about 30 people or so registered to work with us the first year, which was 2024. Of those, I think maybe 16 showed up or something like that. People do have conflicts and other things to come up. No, I understand that. Last year, I think we had a couple less actually, but we had people from as far away. K4DCP, Daryl was living in Mount Airy, drove all the way from Mount Airy, North Carolina to Halifax, North Carolina to operate. So I felt like I needed some help, and we ended up 4 people on the planning committee. Myself, KD4JWF, Jose out of Oxford, Andy KO4YZE out of Roanoke Rapids, and Dave KX4YH out of Blackstone, Virginia. And we had conference calls and met in person, whatever, and started planning this event. So it's good to have enough people to you can put different people in charge of different things, delegate it to them, and trust that they'll take care of it. And they've done an excellent job. I don't have a hat on, but I take my hat off to them. They've really made it a successful event.
And I think that's you hit the nail on the head there on that, Barry. I think you have to surround yourself with people who are committed to the cause or have the same dedication to it as you do. And it sounds like you have the right folks there to help you with that. Like I said, I've done events with others where, maybe you didn't get the same level of commitment from the other volunteers. And that happens. That's just normal and human behavior. They're all excited to jump in, but when it comes to actually getting real work done, they're not really hard. They're not really easy to find. You got the Halifax Resolve. You got your group of volunteers. Obviously, you gotta get out there. You gotta get a call sign. So what's the process look like for getting the call sign from the FCC? You just can't start transmitting as N4C. You got to get approval for that, correct?
That is correct. And let me tell you first that, as I like to tell new hams, if you're thinking about doing something and you're not sure, ask somebody who's been around a while, may have experienced whatever. Like I said, I've been around 37 years. I've experienced a thing or two, made a lot of mistakes along the way. I don't know it all. I just know the mistakes I've made might can keep someone else from making the same one. So it was some trial and error, but and there's so much that you can do in this hobby. We're not going to like the same things, and I'm not going to say the same thing the whole time. I started out in nets and emergency and traffic handling and so forth, and now I'm into DXing. I've changed over the years. And there's other things I'm still going to switch to later on. When I get bored enough with DXing, I'll do something else. And that's the great thing about the hobby. But I like helping other people, and anything that I have done and made the mistakes on can keep somebody else from making them. I'm very opinionated. I might as well admit to it. I'll tell you my opinion, but I'll classify that and say, what works for you may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for you. So there's my disclaimer for everything I'm talking about. This topic is, you don't have to do it my way, but I can tell you how I've done. I'm sorry, Stuart. I think I've gotten a little bit off track and
that's question, perfectly fine, Barry. No problem at all.
But I think you were asking about one-by-one call sign, and let me see if I can pull up the site that affects the U.S. here. See if I can share the screen with you. In the United States special event call sign, you can use any of the ones that are listed on the one-by-one home page. If you can see the screen now up in the site bar, you see what is it? onebyoneCallsigns.org. That's the home page of how you go about applying for it. And it gives you some information here on the screen about how you do it. But you can also we can click on coordinators, and it should give me there's a list of the VECs that have agreed to coordinate one-by-one call signs. So you can contact any one of them, and if you apply to them for one-by-one, you can see first if it's in use. Now I'm going to put in November 4 Charlie and do a search for that, and there you see a list of the people who have reserved that call sign, and you you reserve it for particular lengths of time. And if you look here from 4/8 of 26 to 4/15 of 26. If you go over here, you see it's reserved for the Halifax Resolves special event, and I can click details, and there's the information of who reserved it and for what dates, and my contact information and so forth. There's my contact information if anybody wants to make any contact with me that's interested in traveling here to work the event or anything like that. We're probably not going to be able to squeeze them in this year, but this is going to be a continuing event. But you just apply for the call sign, specify when you want to use it. They send you an email back that says you're authorized for it, put you on this list, and then you are ready to use.
So if you go back to the list there for a second of all the people that booked N4C for the that call sign. Unlike what we have in Canada, where if I, for example, I'm using Charlie Golf 9 Tango this month, that call is now locked for a year. Nobody else can book it for another year. It looks here that as soon as you guys are finished with it, somebody else can book it on those available dates. That if it is available.
That's correct. And in the United States, they do not do. I think it's 30 days is the maximum that you can reserve a call sign, and they prefer for it to be less than that. It's a very brief periods, and even this time now, because I've got it reserved starting 4/25 of 26. Somebody could book today and put in something for 4/1/2026 or whatever, and still get to use it, even though I've already got it booked for the 5th. I'm sorry, the 8th, I believe it was. No.
Yeah, you got it for the 8th. That's right. Yep. So, I can see potential confusion here because now I'm going to work you as N4C. The following week, somebody else is N4C. I mean, the QRZ lookup would be. You really can't put a QRZ page up or anything like that because it's only for such a short period of time. And I don't want to jump ahead, but we can get into, confirmation that, okay, this week it's you, next week it's somebody else. I do like the way ours is locked for a year because at least for a year. The only downside, of course, that is I can't book. If I wanted to make an annual event for, something, for a calendar event every single year, I really can't use the same. For example, we did the VE9 POTA trip to Grindstone Island about a year or so ago, year and a half ago. That VE9 POTA then was totally locked down for a whole year. Nobody else can book it, which is good in that way. But if I wanted to make it an annual event, I would have to choose another call sign or another prefix because it would still be locked within that calendar year.
I understand, and you can work with that. And as you can see, my information is there. The catch to it is if somebody else comes along and contacts QRZ and tells them they're going to use that call sign for some other event, they can actually send the information to QRZ. They can verify it, like you just saw, pull it up on the 1x1 call sign database, whatever, and QRZ will take our information down and put their information up. Everybody doesn't know that. When we first started using this, there was somebody else that was on that page, and we had to contact QRZ to find out that we could actually get it changed and no one has changed it in between our events so far, but someone very well may. That's the thing about QRZ. Everybody is so dependent on QRZ. I don't even use QRZ. It's not my favorite lookup. I use somebody else. Don't use QRZ at all. But their information is basically dependent on what's sent to them by whoever that may be a reliable source and may not. So that's one of the reasons I choose not to use them. I usually use, if I'm looking up a USAM, I use the actual FCC database. It doesn't take but seconds to actually pull somebody up and verify it direct from our Federal Communications Commission.
Oh yeah, but I've heard you verify that on the air before, especially on the Big Gun Friendship Net when generals were checking in on 7128, and you give a nice friendly reminder that they're in the extra class portion of the band. You got your N4C. Is there any fee for that, Barry? Do you have to pay any? Like in Canada, we have to pay $60 for the use of a special event.
No fee for it. The volunteer examiner coordinators coordinate that, and any of them can, you can put an application in to use it, you can withdraw it, and so forth through them. It's all volunteer staff that takes care of that, so there's no fee for it.
And just for those people that are not familiar with the terminology, VEC, that's a volunteer examiner? Volunteer
examiner coordinator.
Okay.
Which I think there's 5 or 6 of them that are on that list that you can contact.
Okay, so they oversee one of their duties is like special event call signs, but also coordinating all the volunteer examiners.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So we got the event. We got our committee plan. We got the guys are all busy doing their thing. You got the special event call. We talked a little bit about promotion, getting on the local nets and getting on the air and talking about it. A little bit that way. And I've heard you talk about it on a lot of the HF nets that we're on. special event day is coming. It's around the corner. What are you guys busy doing to get things set up? What are you doing on location? Because again, a special event could range, as you mentioned, the ugliest ham in Canada type of guy, or he can also get a 1-by-1 call for that if he really wants to, if it's available. I do a lot of special events. It's just usually me honoring some sort of military significant event or something technology wise. Really just me. So it could be a solo person honoring something like that, or it could be a big, I call it a large event that you're doing with a whole group of people. You mentioned 30 volunteers, and 16 or so showed up. What does that look like, Barry, going into the event, maybe a week or two out, getting equipment all arranged? Are you guys running all modes, SSB, CW, digital? What are you guys talking about? How are you getting things arranged and figuring out who's going to do what and when?
Okay, well, I kind of stacked my deck with my planning committee because I chose one person who was very active in FT8 because I know that's popular now. I don't care for it, but lots of hams will. So he takes care of the FT8 coordination. I have one that's a POTA person, K04YZE. That's Andy is big into POTA, and so is Lou K4. He's a most recent addition to our planning committee. He's a big POTA person as well, so he's also on the planning committee. We have Dave KX4YH is a CW man and also a POTA operator, so he crossed the border as far as helping from both standpoints. I'm predominantly a DXer and voice person, though I do CW as well. So our committee is made up of people that have special interest in these areas. So we ask their advice because there's no sense for me to try to plan a POTA event because I don't do POTA. I don't know enough about it. So we kind of stacked the planning committee with people that have expertise in certain areas. Let me back up for just a second and say, when you're planning the event, like I say, from the ugliest ham in the United States to, the big one that I'm involved with is K2J. I'm not organizing that. I'm just a participant, and I'm one of the stations that people talk to. I don't hang it up. I just pulled it out of the box a few minutes ago. I'm not interested in more wall coverings, but let me see if I can show you. It's a little bit, I'm close.
The 13 colony special event, yep.
Yeah, Kilo 2 Juliet. And you can see that I was the top high-power HF operator on 13 colonies, not this past year, but the year before. I decided to scale it back because I put too much time into it year before. That was 5,435 contacts in 56 hours of work. So you can see I was making somewhere close to 100 contacts per hour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you look on the K2J website, QRZ website, you'll see that we were also the highest number of contacts for any colony in 2025. But I only worked 36 hours, I think it was, during that event. So, less hours means less contacts, obviously. That somebody else coordinates that. I don't. I just enjoy participating in it. I am involved in the organization of N4C, and what we're doing, we've had to change this year. We have a site that we picked out that is perfect for what we're doing. It's actually a whole H rural. Let's see, I've forgotten the exact name of it, but it's basically a horse arena. It's there's several riding rings and stables, and they have a building. They do summer camps at it. It's run by the 4-H Club, and the county owns it. And we got in touch with the right people and rented that facility. And that's where you start talking about getting more intense when you start having to pay rent and borrow things and so forth. There's more you're responsible for. That makes it a bigger event. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way, but we chose to for the last 2 years, and it worked out extremely well for us. There's restrooms, there's camper hookups where you can roll up with your RV and plug up and hook up the water and spend your several days there or whatever. That worked out great for us. But this year, when we contacted them, I waited until when they told me I would be able to rent it, and they said it was already rented. So we're not able to use that this year. So what we're going to do is a hybrid model. We're going to have several small stations set up in the area where people are gathering to learn about the Halifax Resolves and celebrate the Halifax Resolve. We have several locations that'll be just, a one-man, two-man operation. And we're also going to do, the reason I call it a hybrid model is because I'm going to sit right here at my house and operate. I'm not far from the site. I will not count as a POTA contact. The ones that are there at the site can. I'm too far away to be in the POTA part, but they'll give POTA contact credit and I will not. But I will probably make more contacts because I have the luxury of, my big antenna and amplifier and all my operating convenience and plenty of coffee to drink while I'm operating. with your planning committee, people have to have power to do things to save you some time. You have to delegate that out according to their expertise. There's going to be some people that just won't come help set equipment up, just to see what your equipment is like. Actually, in our event, the planning committee also brings in all the equipment that everybody uses. Nobody has to bring their own unless they have something they're particularly attached to. If they have their special Morse code key or whatever they want to use, they can bring it, plug it up to our rig, whatever. But that site was great for us, easy to get into, easy to get out of, didn't affect anybody else around because of no houses nearby. There are things to consider in your location. I just touched on the equipment was brought predominantly by the planning committee members. And we also are talking about the first year we used nothing but N1MM logging because I wanted to make sure everything was compatible so that we could merge all the logs together for doing our QSLing and certificates and so forth. This year, I have found out that almost everybody that does an ADI file does it exactly the same. So you can use any electronic logger you want to. I just ask everybody to send me a sample log so that I can see if I can combine them because somebody's got to take responsibility for that. And in this case, I'm the one that takes responsibility for combining all the logs and verifying all the QSL requests that they actually made contact with us. I know some special event stations don't bother with that, but I'm not going to send a certificate or a QSL card to somebody that didn't actually make contact with us. And I had one guy that was very adamant about he worked us, and in my correspondence back and forth with him, I sent him a copy of our log, did everything I could, said maybe we just missed you and you were answering somebody else. He started out by saying he was working us on sideband, on a sideband frequency. Then he said he was working POTA in a park on CW, and he just kept changing his story. He obviously didn't really make contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened.
I'm sorry, but he evidently wanted that park pretty bad, and that's the thing, but I couldn't give it to him. Making sure all the loggers are compatible is the reason I get them to send me a test log so I can combine it in. And then whenever the time comes that people, after the event, that people start requesting QSLs and certificates. Now, everybody can do this differently. We have a QSL card. Let me see if I can hold this up where you can see it pretty good.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, yep. Good.
That's last year's QSL card, and has several nice pictures and the call sign. And down here, you probably can't read it, but it's the website information, several different sites that can give you information on the Halifax Resolve. And then I have a certificate. Let's see if I can get this about the right distance. This is last year's certificate, and it shows you the person who made the contact and what year it was in, and some information about the Halifax Resolves down here at the bottom. That's frameable, and if you frame it, it looks kind of nice to hang on your wall or on your desk or whatever. And I also do a participant. It's the same certificate, but now this one says they participated in the event. That's the people that actually came out to the site. So you recognize, and matter of fact, I do reports and statistics and so forth that give people credit for achievements, who made the most contacts per hour and who did the most of this, that, and the other, who did the best job of putting the information out about the resolves. And we use little flashcards that we have set up each station that you can just pick one and read it every so often so that everybody listening gets a chance to learn about Halifax Resolves. So that gives you an idea of what we deal with as far as all that takes preparation. You have to decide.
Are you mailing those cards and certificates out to the people that request them?
That is correct. They can send in a request with a self-addressed stamped envelope. Most people just send their QSL card to me. It has the information but contact. I pull the log up, I verify the contact, I write it into the QSL card, drop it in their self-addressed stamped envelope, and stick it in the mail.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah, I've started playing with Hamlog as a tool for my certificate management. It's made life a lot easier for me. And then one of my other colleagues have said, "Hey, check out ClubLog. A lot of DXpeditions use it, so I'm going to be using that one for my next special event. So if people want a QSL card, they can just request it through ClubLog. It does all the verifications and all that. And they pay. Since most people I'm contacting are outside of Canada, I just ask for a small donation of $3 US to handle the postage and the printing and all that. And then ClubLog takes care of it all from there. So yeah, as you're saying, do it the way it's most comfortable for you. But you could do it the old-fashioned way, as we call it, pen and paper, or you can do it the computer way. Whatever it is, a lot of people collect special event certificates. That's what I have found.
And what I provide, if you would read that N4C QRZ page, when you have a chance, you'll see it request a $5 contribution for the certificate. But I design, print, it takes ink, it takes paper. It's parchment paper, by the way, which makes it look a little bit nicer. And the postage to send an oversized envelope like that goes out at 9 by 12 or 8 by 11. I guess it's 9 by 12 envelope. So it takes more postage than just first class. And I asked them to send me a self-addressed label that I can stick on the envelope. I provide the envelope, the certificate, the postage for $5. So that's not a bad deal.
No, not a bad deal at all. On the day of the event, when you're all together, you got a lot of stations running. You got your CW, you got some SFB, some FT8. What type of equipment are you running, and how do you handle? I know the answer to the question, but I'm going to ask you explain it. How do you handle multiple HF stations being on the air at once without interfering with each other?
Well, there are several options on how you can handle things. As far as the equipment that's used, you asked about. I carry my old TS2000 Kenwood out there because it gives me the capability of monitoring VHF for people that need directions driving in and out of the site and so forth, as well as working HF at the same time. Let's see. Dave for CW uses usually a FT891 Yaesu. Jose had a Zygu for one FT8 station for the portable one, and I've forgotten what his radio was. It might have been an 891 also or something. But he runs the FT8 through N1MM logger, so it all gets automatically logged for him without him doing any extra effort. Andy has FT891 in his truck and one in a go box, so he can operate from his vehicle or on a table or picnic table or whatever he wants to do. Have I covered all of them? Oh, and Blue and Daryl actually brought a camper in that was all set up, and to be honest with you, I don't remember what radios they were using, but it was a self-contained rolling ham shack that they just pulled up and plugged in and threw a couple of antennas up into trees and went to operate it. As far as interfering with each other, I'm going to make somebody mad now because I'm opinionated. I've been told over and over again, never owned one, but I've been told over and over again, anybody that wants to use an ICOM 7300, if you have multiple transmitters at the same location, don't bother. You won't be able to do a thing with it. It has no front end to it whatsoever. That's what I'm told. I don't know because I don't know
either. Yeah, I don't know either.
Most of the equipment is Yaesu, and I can tell you the Kenwood and the Yaesu, where we set up, that site is large enough that we're hundreds of yards apart. So that eliminates some of the front end overload. But the Yaesus and the Kenwoods that we've been using have not had any difficulty whatsoever with bothering each other. And the antennas proximity to each other, as well as the radios and the top of the antenna.
When Pierre and I went to Grindstone Island, we purchased, I don't know if you can read them on the screen there, this is a 7 megahertz bandpass filter. So we brought a number of these out with us to the Grindstone Island. If I was on 40 meters and Pierre was on 20 meters, I would just run the 7 megahertz bandpass filter, and it worked great when we were sitting right next to each other as well. And these are, I can't remember what I paid, maybe $100 each on DX Engineering for them, but they're low power ones, so we're not running big powers in those ones. But they work great for cutting all the potential interference as well out of our operation there at that day on the island.
Station that I provide, along with that TS2000 Kenwood, I'm also running a SG500, I think is the model number, amplifier. So that'll give me up to 600 watts. The reason I use that amplifier is actually a mobile amplifier, but I use it because it's bulletproof. You hook up the radio to it, it automatically switches to the right band. It automatically keys up. It automatically kicks out if you overdrive it, or it puts in an attenuator if you overdrive it. You drive 100 watts into it if you want to, and it's going to automatically reduce the input back to whatever it needs to give you the power out. Just ideal for the situation. So somebody doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't have to touch it. All they have to do is operate the radio as normal, and it takes care of everything. That goes to what I was going to show you the picture of was year before last. We used an A3S Cushcraft tri-bander up on a man lift, JLG man lift. The first year was so windy, we couldn't take it all the way up. It just wasn't safe to. I stopped at about 35 feet or something like that because it was so windy. Last year wasn't windy. We had rain. It was miserable outside, but we were able to go all the way up with that man lift. And we also changed the antennas from the A3S Cushcraft with a 40 meter add-on kit to a Mosley TA53M with the 40 meter add-on kit. So we could cover everything 10 through 40 meters from 65 feet in the air with about 500 to 600 watts. So that makes it a little more enjoyable for the people who want to work.
That would be a great POTA setup as well. So we talked about getting the call signs through the 1x1 website there, but or getting a good planning committee, the QSLing, the day of the event. Barry, is there anything that I'm missing on this discussion that we haven't addressed yet?
Well, I've got a couple of notes, things I had thought about. On the QSLing and certificates, I did want to mention to everybody, if you're going to put something in print and send it out to folks, make sure you're not infringing on somebody's copyright. I had to actually get permission to use, I had to get a copyright authorization to use a couple of pictures that I used in the information. It can be done, but it can be hairy trying to get it figured out. But we don't want anybody to get themselves in trouble. And because we didn't have somebody else that wanted to handle it all, and I was already on everything, I just take care of the QSLing and certificates. Here I have the color printer, and I print them as needed. I'm not printing 1,000 cards to only send out 200 or whatever. It makes it a little more convenient. I did want to mention a little bit about advertising the event, both in advance of the event, during it, and after it. Because that's something a lot of people might not think about. But before the event, we have contacted media and let them know what was going on, and we put it on some ham radio sites. And during the event, we do things like this. This is a friend of mine runs a business making these banners, so I was able to get a good deal on something we could actually hang up at the site so that people knew they were at the right place if they came to visit us. Tell you what's going on there. And after the event, we usually do participant certificates and recognize them for whatever they achieved special above and beyond out at the activity. So, and we also usually make a presentation to the news media, as it were, to do a story in the local publications and so forth, so that people can learn about it and say, hey, I'm going to try to get over that next year. So there are things to take into consideration. You don't have to, but things that help us keep it going.
Yeah, one of the things that I do here in Canada as well is I also usually draft up an article for our Radio Amateurs of Canada, or equivalent to the ARRL magazine. And they, not every time, but most of the time, they're always starving for articles and content for the magazine. Last time they did my special event back in November was, what was that one now? It was the Canadian Armed Forces month. And they did, I wrote up a nice article, and they actually published it in the magazine. It was great. So there's also the ham radio magazines too, and if you can also find somebody on your team, Barry, who's very good at social media, there's an abundance of social media on the ham radio world too, and videos like this also help promote, because it's coming up in a couple weeks time, the Halifax Resolves special event, N4C. I think the date was April the 12th, right? Is that what it says on the flag behind us there?
Actually, the dates this year, I've got the call sign N4C reserved for a week, and we're probably going to be operating from some home stations. If you want the POTA contact, you probably want to get them. They're going to be there probably setting up on Friday, which I think is the 10th, and we'll be operating them probably on Saturday the 11th and into Sunday the 12th, since the 12th is a significant date. They're probably not going to be on site after that. So if you want POTA contact, you want it probably on Saturday or Sunday the 11th to 12th. If you don't care about the POTA, then you might be able to catch some of the home stations working anywhere from the 8th through the 15th.
Yeah, great. I think I got it. I think I got it in my POTA log from a couple years back anyway, so I'm good there. But I know they'll probably post it on the POTA spot page anyways. Hey Barry, thanks for taking time out of your day to do this. I know you're probably like me. I think you're either retired or semi-retired. So you got a lot. We have lots of time to do stuff like this. But thanks again for taking time out of your day to come and talk to me about special events in the U.S. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your friendship, and I look to you as I don't like the word Elmer too much, but a mentor to me on some things. I know I often ask you questions, and one of the topics you put on your notes here: if you don't know, find somebody who knows and ask them. Correct?
That is absolutely correct. Not because we know it all, but because we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and Mike can keep you from making the same one. You're exactly right. And I'm gonna call you out, Stuart. Everybody, I've been asking Stuart for the last couple of years now to come down and join us, and he's had conflicts with the dates. But everybody send him a note alike that says, "Go participate."
But this now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard you mention earlier that this is going to be your last year doing the coordinator job.
I've been kind of heading it up because I have have the most experience, but one of the other members of our planning committee is shadowing me this year and keeping up with everything I'm doing, so he knows how to pick it up and keep it running. And I'm going to sit back and let him bring in some fresh ideas and hopefully make it even better.
And enjoy it. And enjoy the event versus the stress of managing it and organizing it. Barry, again, thanks again for this. We folks, we have a great lineup tomorrow. A guy that both Barry and I look to and talk to a lot. My friend Gunther from Germany, DK50NV, is joining me to talk about portable ham radio. Gunther is very active from the Week Harbor. Wait, is it the Week Harbor? Is that how you pronounce it?
Wiesbaden Yacht Harbor.
Wiesbaden, yeah, that's right. The yacht harbor in where he lives in Germany. He'll be joining us on POTA, or talk about not POTA, but portable. I have my friend Stuart Hayes, V3RGO, coming to talk about small station contesting, how to get started as a contester running a small station, basically 100 watts in a wire. And we published today our interview with K3LR, so that's up on the channel now. So go and check my conversation with Tim Duffy. Barry, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate it. Again, I really appreciate your mentorship and friendship over the years. And like I said, you're one of the first guys I ran into when I got back into this hobby 3 years ago. So thanks for being on the air and everything that you do for ham radio, Barry.
Well, thank you for having me, Stuart. And I just showed everybody a few minutes ago how to get to the one-by-one call sign database. If you need to get in touch with me, everybody tells me you need to put some pictures on QRZ. You need to put some information, put your email address. Well, no, I don't use QRZ, but now you know how to get in touch with me if there's something I can help you with. The one-by-one call sign database. Look up November 4 Charlie, and my information is there on the page. So if somebody can use my help with something, I'll do my best if you get in contact with me.
And almost every day, if you go on 14.247 around 2000 UTC, no doubt, unless you're in a skip zone, you'll hear Barry as one of the net controllers for the 14.247 DX net there. Thanks again, Barry, and thanks everyone for tuning in today. And we'll be back in a few days with another video. Thanks again, 7-3.
7-3, everyone, N4WFU.